Morning, happy new year. So today's the 31st of December, it's New Year's Eve. So we are going to a party tonight and we are cooking a lamb al asado. It's basically a spatchcock lamb over an open fire. It's been a long old process to get here. I'm going to show you guys the whole journey, so enjoy. To cook a lamb over an open fire, there's something you're going to need. Lamb. We've got 259 lambs in here to choose from. I want one that's a certain size, so we don't actually know how many people are coming, but I'm thinking about 15, 16, 17 kilo lamb. 17 maximum. You're looking at about a 30 kilo lamb, give or take. We'll have a few of them in here, I expect. But it's just whether they've got the right fat on them. I'm also thinking, I want one that's quite straight legged, so not like a really well-bred Beltexy thing with a lot of bum muscle. I want something that's got the opposite, really, quite straight legs, because yeah, the legs, if they're ridiculous, are going to be quite something to cook. Lambs in the UK are graded on the Europe scale, so it's EUROP. E being absolute tank, really muscly, really strong, square physique. I'll try and show you one. I don't think we've got many E's here. And a P being the opposite, like a goat, basically. And then we grade them on a fat scale, 1 to 5, 1 being very lean, 5 being very fat. So we want like an 0.4. It's not been a week for fattening lambs. We had literally 6 inches of snow for over a week. We held them quite tight on a bit of grass as well, because we didn't know whether to graze the last bit or not. We decided not to, so we moved them. So it hasn't been the best week for fattening lambs, so they've probably been checked a fair bit. But hopefully we can find a nice little fat one that just sort of ticks all the boxes. Let's have a look. Got my spaniel with me to get them in. Keen as a bean.
You know that I'ma keep it cool. With you I feel like breaking rules. On the edge, looking out with no parachute. You know I'm dreaming about us two, playing around without a clue. On the edge, leaning out. With us it's all or nothing. Ooh, but guess I need more of you. With us it's all or nothing, but guess I need more of you. You say it during night, but in the morning you just leave. With us it's all or nothing. Ooh, but guess I need more of you. With us it's all or nothing, but guess I need more of you. You say it during night, but in the morning you just leave.
See, that one would be too good because it'll have big rump and legs. Want something more like that, really, like that. So he's not straight legged.
This time, think you're toxic to my mind, but I know they don't know what you're all about. The way you hold my body tight, staying up talking through the night. Yeah, I know they just don't. With us it's all or nothing. Ooh, but guess I need more of you. With us it's all or nothing, but guess I need more of you. You say it during night, but in the morning you just leave. I need more of. With us it's all or nothing. Ooh, but guess I need more of you. Why don't you stay? Why don't we talk about this? Why don't you stay?
We're going with the white lamb. Mainly because that is a terrible seller in the live market. So that's it. For a fire you need wood, and I know just the place to get some. A tree that's been down for a minute. You can't just cut a tree down and burn it, 'cause it doesn't work like that. You need it to be seasoned. That's a pretty impressive one. See, even a lot of this tree is still be alive because it's still attached, and the trees live through the bark, so the life goes up through the bark and up, and you can see, look, it's actually had fruit and leaves this year. So that ain't no good, mate. These apple trees back here, they don't actually pick anymore or use. These big branches like this just get so heavy, and in the extreme weather, they just break off. And there's a few down here that they've chopped off last year, so I'm gonna try and find one of them. To be completely honest with you, I don't know how much wood we're gonna need. A lamb will take between 5 and 7 hours to cook, so how much wood do you need for a 5 to 7 hour open fire? Yeah, I don't know either. These are the exact sort of things I'm after, I reckon. That might be a bit rotten, but that should be good. I reckon some of them.
I've been walking in the woods alone, trying so hard to find my way back home. There's no reason to give in and let go. What's left is my corroded soul. I've been walking round in circles too, chase my tail around a tree or two. Still I hope to see the rise of dawn when you are walking in beside me too. It's creeping up under my skin.
It's the eve of New Year's Eve. Here comes the rain. So obviously when you're cooking a lamb outdoors over an open fire, you could do without the rain. So, we're just trying to make a contingency plan. Well, not a contingency plan. Basically, we almost aborted mission. Very nearly aborted mission. Because we got 35km/h winds and 12.5 mil of rain. Forecast for tomorrow. On top of all this, I can tell you it's not very pretty. But if we let the weather ruin everything, we will get nowhere. Being British, the weather ruins everything anyway, so we're pretty used to it. Obviously, I've never cooked a lamb over an open fire before, so it just adds another element of like stress, worry, because there's quite a lot of people going to eat and I don't want it to not work. But worst case, we'll just cut it up and chuck it in the oven, I suppose. It'll be alright. So what I'm thinking, we're gonna try and build some sort of shelter, and with the wind, I'm trying to think of what I can do to block some of the wind off. I thought of the perfect thing, farmer style. Hurdles. This is how I lose all my hurdles, by the way. Now hear me out, yeah? Wind, fire, couple of tin sheets. Just quick, innit? Even if I can't use the tin sheets, maybe like, I don't know, tin foil or something stupid, I don't know. This is the plan. Just going even more farmer style now. Could we use the ring feeder? Couple of sheets of tin. Block a bit of the wind off. Contained. It's happening. We've got a cattle feeder, couple of sheep hurdles, gonna find a bit of tin. If it works, it's gonna be funny. The best bit is as well, we're taking this, my friend Alex is having the party and he lives just like in a normal house, just with like normal neighbours, and we're about to have literally a bonfire inside a cattle feeder and a spatchcock of lamb over the top of it.
It's creeping up under my skin. The fear of never seeing you ever again. It's creeping up.
Settings for the party. Beautiful house. Cattle ring feeder at the bottom of the garden. It's actually worked out better than I thought it was going to. keeping the rain off beautifully. We ain't getting wet under it. It's also not as windy as I thought it was going to be. It was blowing a gale this morning, but it settled right down. But I'm still going to put tinfoil around there. And I'm going to light the fire, and we need to get on now because we're running a bit behind. So let's get on with it. The last thing you're going to need for an asado lamb is an asado cross. Ta-da! I bought mine from Country Fire Kitchen. I was going to make it myself. Never have time for these things, so I bought it. It's £100 plus the VAT. Really nicely made, so you put the lamb's legs on there, shoulders on there, and then its back runs down there. I'm really impressed with it. All we need now is to put our lamb on here, and we're good to go. Right, ta-da! We have a lamb. Quick shout out to Berridon's Farm, the abattoir that I use. It's in Romford. They've looked after us all year, so big thank you. Nice dressed lamb. All I've got to do now is cut down the chest, down the spine to sort of fillet it, and then down the legs there so that it spatchcocks. Oh yeah, and then we've got to score the skin.
I feel like I've been here before, familiar with the view. This ain't nothing new. And every time that you walk through the door, I'm hit by the same old tide, blinded by the lights, and I'm going through changes, but it's easier with
She's on. So basically what we've done is we wired the lamb to the asado cross, and then we made a fire, and then we've just dragged the sort of embers towards the lamb. There's no real like definitive answer of how you make sure that the lamb's at the right temperature. You just got to kind of hold your hand underneath the lamb. Some people say if you can't hold it under there for 6 seconds it's good. Some people say 10 seconds it's good. So we're kind of going in the middle, about 8 seconds. And then we just keep the fire fed and just keep dragging the embers back towards the lamb. Now the cross that I got from Country Fire Kitchen, to me personally, I don't think it's quite long enough. To me personally, I think it wants to be a little bit taller. Just gives you a little bit more leeway. You need something to kind of stop it falling because it's not quite long enough. So what we've done is we've just tied this. We've tied it up with metal wires. God, the smoke is pretty good. It seems to be going okay. I'll give you a little look. We're about half an hour in, I expect. And then dinner might happen. Pretty good. So as the lamb's cooking, you need to baste it with a brine. You basically like brush on like a brine that you make. A lot of people use a rosemary, like a rosemary bush, so I thought, when in Rome, yoink. God. The weather is proper killing it. I mean, I would fully recommend doing this in the summer, but it's happening. All you gotta do is just keep the fire fed now and try and keep a like constant temperature on it. What do you think? Just completely spin it.
Got it.
I think it's got to come out, Ali, to spin it. That'll be okay. Yeah, I think it's gonna be okay.
You're about where you were.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. So I couldn't really film a lot more because GoPros are terrible at filming in the dark. But it was quite a good success. I got a small clip here of us sort of serving it up and enjoying the party. So really happy with the first attempt. I'd also like to thank you all for supporting my channel and watching my YouTubes over the year. And I wish you all the best and a Happy New Year.